Okay, hit record and send everybody in. All right, welcome everybody. I'm sorry for the late start. We had some Zoom technical difficulties this morning that we were working through behind the scenes. So thank you everybody for waiting while we figured out what was going on. Welcome again to another community conversation. While everybody's joining, I just want to thank everybody for coming again. My name is Chris. I'll be your host for today's session. And as usual, it's my pleasure to welcome our expert speakers, and we'll be talking about AutoCAD Electrical. So just for anybody who's new to this series, I just wanted to share a little bit about what community conversations are. It's a great way for us to get you together with expert speakers from both inside and outside of Autodesk on a variety of topics like workflow demonstrations, tips and tricks, and in this session, Q&A on AutoCAD Electrical. This session usually happens about every second Thursday of the month at 11 a.m. Eastern. So encourage you to keep an eye on the community conversations calendar so you can sign up for the next session when it becomes available. And hopefully by then we'll have all of our Zoom issues worked out so we don't have these delays.
Just to pause you, Chris, were you planning on sharing? Because I know we often have the PowerPoint.
Oh, yes, I will be sharing. Yes.
Okay,
sorry.
I just wanted to let you know that I wasn't seeing
that
it.
Was I turned it off so I could help you get into the
Yes,
meeting.
No worries. I figured that
Okay.
was the case. And sorry, everybody, again, for our technical difficulties today.
So I'm going to try to share. Are you seeing it?
We are.
Yes.
Okay, so you should be seeing our safe harbor statement, which basically just tells you do not make any purchasing decisions on anything future looking that we might be discussing in today's session. Always look at the software in the state that it is currently in when you're making your decisions on purchasing software. All right, so again, everybody's muted right now. If you have questions, you can use the raise hand or put your questions in the chat, and we'll be keeping an eye on those throughout the session. And I think we are recording, obviously. So we're going to be sending you a copy of the recording after the session is over. Sean will be emailing that to everyone on the list. And I think that's enough from me for now. We've already wasted enough time. So let's let Tiffany and Matthew take over the session, and I'll be back at the end to share some more information with you guys.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Chris. And welcome again, everybody. I am deeply apologetic for what happened. We almost thought we were going to be canceling on you all. So thank you for those that stuck around. It was a very odd Zoom whirl of me trying to get in, Tiffany and I both trying to get in and not being able to. So thanks for sticking with us. We are a smaller crew today, and I'm guessing that is likely because we had some drop-offs in that 10 minutes. So for those that are here, this could be a little bit of even more of a conversation than it already is, and that we already encourage, because we are kind of a small crew. So I'll introduce myself, and then we'll kind of kick off to this for anybody who hasn't joined. I see lots of names that I recognize, but I am Tiffany Bachmeier. I lead our global media and entertainment and advanced manufacturing teams here and within consulting within Autodesk. But here I actually come to you wearing a very different hat than that. And I have spent a greater part of my career as an AutoCAD electrical expert. And so that's really what I am here to chat with you about, alongside my esteemed colleagues, Tifani Weisbrod and Matt Durst. So I will let them introduce themselves, and then we'll give you a little overview of kind of how things work today.
I'll go ahead. Hi, I'm Tiffany Weisbrod. I was the designated support specialist. Our titles have changed. It is now a technical account specialist. So we'll have to get that slide updated. And I'm here to help Tiffany and Matt with any questions. I worked at a reseller for 25 years, training the software. I don't claim to know everything about it. If you did, wow, that's quite something. And I'll be honest with you, there's a time or two where I'm learning something from you all, and this is very, very beneficial. I like attending this and helping Tiffany and Matt.
She's being really humble, you guys. She knows 99.9% of the. All right, Matt, take it away.
Yeah, thanks, Tiffany. Matthew Durst, basically data management expert. Worked with Autodesk for almost 7 years now. I am a principal implementation consultant. So been doing data management implementations for 10 plus years. So consulting experiences primarily in the manufacturing industry. As you can see, we're all based out of Michigan. So we're a strong Michigan team from the Midwest. So yeah, happy to be a part of this. And I've been doing this with Tiffany Bachmeier for, it seems like maybe over a year now.
Oh, it's been 3 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I know we took a break at some point,
Yep.
but yeah, glad to be still a part of this.
Awesome. All right, thanks you guys. So yes, go green. But anyway, sorry everybody on the call. So just to, and Chris, if you want to take the slide down, you could go ahead and do that, and we'll just dive into, thank you, to our explanations here. So anybody that has not joined, just to let you know, this is a really open discussion, and we encourage anywhere from beginner, intermediate to advanced topics along electrical, even sometimes the connections between that and inventor. Tiff is an inventor expert, the connections with that and Vault, as you heard Matt talk about with data management, he covers all aspects of that, but Vault is the heavy one, the heavy hitter when it comes to connections with AutoCAD Electrical. So we're really here to cover the gamut of questions. We also love to hear from you. If you have ideas or other things you want to share, things you've been doing with electrical that you think may be beneficial for others to see, we welcome that as well. It often ends up being just a rapid fire of us going through your questions and covering as many bases as we can, but we love to get some thoughts and ideas from you all on how you're doing it and how you're approaching it with your different industries, because there are many industries that utilize AutoCAD Electrical. So it's always exciting for us to hear from you as well. And so with that, we'll open it up and see. I'm always checking. Use the chat, please, for it. I saw some of your greetings. I love finding out where you all are coming from. And Claire, it's good to see you on here again. But if you guys have questions, just please feel free to start typing them into the chat. And if you don't, we can talk about other fun things. I know there were questions about AU on our last call. Oh, Chris, I see yours. I know there were questions about AU last fall and last call, and I know that we're having some more internal discussions on it, but I think we will have good news for you all very soon. And I certainly intend to bring this group together at AU. So we'll make sure that we get all of those details in place as more information comes out. But I think we have good news for you all. Yes, that's true, Sean. Thank you. Yes, call for proposals is March 15th. So it is coming. So please, 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 if you guys have things that you want to do with electrical, that is awesome. Run them by us here. We can even test out some of the things. We can look at, what kind of topics would be important. In fact, that's a question for all of you. What kind of classes would you like to see from us or from other experts for AutoCAD Electrical? I'd love to hear that now. Great question. Advanced.net courses in the next AU. I don't know the answer to will there be, but that's a great plug for why we might need to. It's a good note. I will note that. What specifically would you be looking to do with .net? Just how you might be able to leverage that with AutoCAD Electrical? Or do you just mean .net in general, not in relation to electrical? We can take you off mute too. I will not be the one, FYI, teaching a .NET course, just to be really clear, that is not my skill set, but we will let the people that is the skill set know.
His comment was C# .NET plugins for AutoCAD Electrical is what he'd like to see.
Awesome. Okay.
So customizations and things.
Yeah, that is great to know. Noted. And I think that's a great idea. Perfect. What else? Time saving. Okay, I love that. That's great, Mark. Thank you, Mark. Always a wealth of knowledge. I actually feel like, Mark, you could teach that class.
He probably could.
Maybe we all team teach with you. We'll have a panel of it. It'll be good. Yeah, for anybody who has attended in the past, I used to teach a 60 tips in 60 minutes, which was rapid fire, but really fun. And it was fun for me to come up with what those 60 were. It was fun to like reimagine those into the next year so that they weren't all the same. And maybe it's time to even do that a little bit. But yeah, that's fair. Yeah, Mark, I understood. If you had a class rejected last year, don't think that means that class wouldn't swim this year. Last year was tough. It was getting all of the AUs into one. It was very different approach to how we were doing it, which we needed to do it virtually. But it did mean a lot less of the acceptances of classes than we've had in the past for numbers. So I would encourage you to try again. Always try again. But that's a great idea. Maybe we'll do something on time saving. Good idea. What else? Anything else? This got some juices flowing. I like it. I like hearing and reading these things. We'll keep asking. I don't know if the call for proposals closes when, Sean. Is it? I don't know if we'll have another one of these before it closes.
I think we'll have one right before the end of the close.
Will we?
I think it's yeah, it's April, so it's,
okay.
I mean it's like
so
a
we
month,
might
so
get one more in. Yeah.
Yeah, get a good heads up. And the other thing we're working on this year is any of those that aren't accepted, we're finding the proper placement for them in venues.
I love it.
Yeah. So a perfect example. Community conversation. You know, if
Yeah.
they're an expert on something, they've already wrote a lot of the materials. So why not give them the opportunity to present that, or find other ways to do that, tips and tricks or something.
The other thing to note is that when the call for proposals opens, the voting also opens. So the community is encouraged to look over those classes that have been proposed and vote for the ones that you like the best.
Yes, that's huge.
Yeah, get in there and vote.
Looking for a link on how they can get there, how they can do submissions.
Yeah, so the submissions aren't open yet, but do we have an active link to that, gentlemen?
Yes, I'll post one.
Okay,
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
It's really just a link, I think, to the page where the
For when it opens up, yeah.
is, and once next Monday, it should be a link to actually do the proposals.
Got it. Yeah, and I apologize. I don't know I think you're somebody that I think I remember your name because you've talked about your add-ins that you've done before, but I only see you as MCO. But to you, if you need any help, reach out. You can email me. I'm happy to review your proposals and give you thoughts or ideas. I've submitted quite a lot of these. I've had them rejected and I've had them accepted. So we can kind of talk about ideas on that. Oh, good. So it's till April 15th. So yeah, I think we'll have one before then. So that's good.
So in the US, we have two deadlines: call for proposals and taxes.
Yeah, really fun. Not good deadlines, people. Let's see, Claire. It's a possible request for invention. How about teaching how to create software management systems or installation of a device so that the residential meter plan can manage to turn on and off various large loads? Oh, HVAC, dryer, dishwasher, keep electrical bills low. That's good. It's load bear. That's really interesting. I would love to propose that back to you, Claire. You tell us how you think that would work. That's a great use case that I've not something that I've dealt with. Most of my electrical life has been in really large machining setup. So more at the very mechanical side of this, not more from an AEC application of it, but that could be a really interesting, innovative approach. Great idea. What else? Do we have questions on electrical? I know last one we were just cranking through these. There was tons of questions, but I know we did lose quite a bit of people. So we won't keep you this whole time, by the way. If we don't have a ton of them, we'll let you go and we'll make sure that we regroup in April. But I really appreciated this AU discussion. So thanks for all the ideas. Anything on interconnection? Do you all feel a desire for understanding more about how you might connect electrical with other products like Inventor or Vault? I mean, I feel like most years we actually cover those because there has been a lot of demand, but I'm just curious to know if that's still interesting or if you all feel like you already know that. Or if there's new ways, new interconnections that we need to think about. You're a beginner at AutoCAD. Can you tell me how I use it in, that says filed work, but I'm assuming you mean field work.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, so I have a lot of questions with that particular question. Is it just AutoCAD, or are you actually using AutoCAD Electrical? And what specific field work? Because I think we could give you all sorts of tips and tricks, but the biggest thing would be, I would highly recommend you actually take a training course. It should be in most cases 2 to 3 days max. But those are, and I think we have a link to of one that I did recordings on, just to give you a feel for it. I still think taking it instructor led by is better than you just watching me talk to you, but watching me is better than nothing. And you'll get a lot of knowledge about how to use it and what kind of tools electrical has. I mean, if you're in the field, a lot of cases, what you're likely doing is making updates and edits to those. And there are ideas that we could give you on ways to do that while you're in field, like in an iPad application or things like that, and then how to come back and make those edits and those updates. So thank you, Tiff, for putting that link.
Awesome.
I appreciate it.
Mhm.
So yeah, I mean, we can cover a wide gamut. I mean, that is my biggest recommendation, is take that training course, because if you try to work your way through it, as many people do with vanilla AutoCAD, what we call base AutoCAD, we call it vanilla, you will end up getting some of the intelligence, but not all of it. And you'll end up probably working a lot harder instead of a lot more efficiently than if you just take the class. There's so many, it's a great tool. It's actually quite easy to use, but you need somebody to walk you through the interconnections of everything, because that's what makes it intelligent. So I cannot stress enough the importance of training. Thank you, Mark, for the +1 on that one. I appreciate it.
Tiffany, I was working with a customer, and I noticed that they had multiple projects open, and some of the projects that they had open as well could range anywhere from maybe 100 sheets to 600
Yeah.
in the projects. And they were complaining a little bit about performance being a problem.
I can see that.
And I wanted to ask you, does having 500 or 600 drawings in that project affect working on just one drawing?
So we absolutely support thousands of drawings being in a single project. That's not a problem. But whenever anything's loaded in your project manager, for any of you that's new, there's a sidebar on the side of your screen of AutoCAD Electrical. I know I'm not sharing, I'm just talking through this, but it's called our project manager. It is the brains of everything that is electrical. If you just open individual DWG files and you don't have them actually tied to a project, you are not having any of the intelligence of AutoCAD Electrical. So project management is key to this. In the project manager, though, you can have one active project, only one, but you can have many other projects that are preloaded in there. That's not a bad thing. I operate, when I'm teaching, with probably 20 different projects already loaded in there, but most of my projects for teaching are like 10 sheets a project, so they're not heavy. If you have multiple projects that are all 500 plus, you're probably going to want to close those projects that are not active, because the one thing that happens in the background that no one ever sees, we have something within electrical called a scratch database. And what's happening is, in that scratch database in the background, it's keeping track of all of the drawings and all of the projects that are actively loaded into the project manager, whether they're active or not. As soon as that project manager launches, it's making sure that it has access to all of those files. So it's working in the background on all of those things. That could absolutely be a performance lag depending on how you're accessing those drawings. Are those drawings on your desktop? Are they connected, through a VPN or through a shared drive? I mean, there's a lot of things that could really start to tank performance there. And if you have that big of projects, I would highly recommend closing all of those other projects that you don't have active and only working in your active project. As soon as you don't need that one, open up the next project. You could close that one, and it's definitely going to help you with bandwidth. So it's a great call out, Matt. I think that's a really good question.
And we had Vault as a part of the equation in that as well, and also a user that was working remotely over a VPN connection. So everything
All those things
really
yeah.
just seemed
Yeah.
to slow down
Yeah.
at that point. So it seemed like after we closed some of those things down, so like you said, the Scratch database probably was removing some of that memory and some of the tasks. It seemed to increase the performance a little bit there.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. There are lots of different tweaks that you could do to kind of help improve that performance. But I think just recognizing that you had all of those factors happening are going to be things that are going to degrade, some of the speed. I was trying to keep track of that. Did we cover everything that was popping in this chat, team? I think we did.
All except for there's one for Vault.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I just saw that come through. Pete, thank you for asking that question. I just actually read through it pretty quickly. So it seems like you guys are using the network currently to share work with multiple users, and drawing files can only be opened by one person at a time. That is still the case with Vault. Maybe not open, but working on a file. You can only work on one person can only work on one file at a time. So multiple people could have the same project open, but multiple people could be working on different drawings within that project. So, and you use Vault as the center to check in, check out, and you don't have to close and reopen files. You can simply refresh in your AutoCAD Electrical application, and it's going to pull in those changes for you. So it's really just a secure and good way to manage the collaboration between team members. You will not get that same type of behavior if you're just working across a network share. So Vault is going to act as the central repository for you, and it's going to manage those files for you. All you have to do as a CAD user is do the checkout, check-in, and continue to work as normal. And you'll be able to work with your team.
Okay, yeah, I was wondering about that. I was just wondering what kind of functionality it gave besides just only allowing one person to make changes on a drawing at a time.
Well, and the side note too, as Matt was explaining kind of the interoperability of all of it, Vault and AutoCAD Electrical work very seamlessly together in the sense that Vault actually recognizes that multiple people may be in the same project at the same time and need to do updates to the entire project. And other than that one file that you may be on that I can't access as I'm updating it, it will go through. And so what's nice about it is in other data management packages that say they support AutoCAD Electrical, what they will often do is make you forced to only one person can check out the whole project. And that's really limiting because now you can't have people collaborating within the project like we often have to work with. So Vault's very, very synergist in how it works with AutoCAD Electrical and understanding that there could be multiple users in those. And it will even flag warnings that, I have a drawing open when you're trying to update everything, but knowing that I can update all of the rest of the project and it's not locking me and you both out of this project. So it's a really nice interconnection that it has.
Okay.
Yeah, and Pete, to answer your question, the other things that Vault may offer you, there's quite a bit actually, and not even just specific to electrical, but just in general for data management. Managing change is something Vault's going to do for you. So you have the version history automatically. You have a security model in place where users can come into an environment, and if you want to restrict certain things, you have that ability to do that. Maybe you want somebody that's just read-only. Maybe you want a level 1 editor, a level 2 editor. Maybe you want someone that's more of a power user. The searching capability, being able to locate things. We can do textual content search, so it doesn't have to be attributed. It doesn't have to be a property. You can search any piece of text within the AutoCAD drawing using Vault. So that can be a real time saver there as well.
Yeah, that's very interesting because that makes more sense. It gives a lot more management, I guess. I like the level users because we do have users that get in and the only reason they really have electrical is so that they can look at the full drawing or print things out.
Sure.
But they not necessarily would we want them to have, edit access to it
Sure.
to make changes. So, oh,
And
cool.
even that, I mean, the ability to print to PDF and have the PDFs have all the hyperlinks to see interconnections between parent-child relationships and panels and schematics, like that could even be another way where those people don't even need to get into electrical at all, but they could be utilizing the project if they've really all they're doing is seeing and not doing any sort of editing. That could be another benefit.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for the question, Pete. Appreciate it.
It's great.
If you want to get really carried away, you can get into Vault Professional and start using it for your revision control and change order
Exactly.
and all that.
Exactly.
And you can take it as far as you want.
Well, and I think that is the level that we're talking about, right, Matt? I don't think that base Vault really does what it needs to do with electrical. You really need Vault Professional for all of this, right?
You should
Yeah.
have Vault Professional.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Just good clarification there. Thanks, Chris. To the question around 2D electrical panel layout. So is there a product or native ACADE function that helps with 2D electrical panel layouts? I really want to unpack this one because I want to know what it is that you feel like you're having to script to do that, because that is natively what AutoCAD Electrical is designed for. It is designed to marry schematics and panel drawings together and have them be interconnected. If you update the schematic, the panel automatically updates. If you change if you change the part number on it and that needs to change even the block of the shape of that in the panel layouts, it will automatically do that based off of what we have in settings. So that is a very interconnected kind of core functionality of AutoCAD Electrical. And if you're not seeing what you need, I think we definitely need to dig into that one. Of course, if you didn't want to do it in 2D and you want to do it in 3D, enter where we now use Inventor for those. You do your schematics in electrical, but really do your 3D layouts in Inventor. But yes, the answer is yes. AutoCAD Electrical is natively built to do exactly that with panel layouts. So sounds like there may be an opportunity. I would question, were you able to get into if you can get into a training class, those are the things that are covered as the basics. You understand everything that can be done in schematics, everything that can be done for panel drawings, how they're all interconnected. And then kind of the next level is more of that librarian support of understanding, how do I make my own blocks? How do I make my own, edit my own catalog database? How do I do all of those things?
Yeah, I might be going a little bit further than what's probably there. And I guess wanting to go further than what's probably already there. But so yes, I know that there's functions to generate all of the components and put it on the layout. I've just written a little script to take it one step further and put, say, terminals above everything else, and then the panel layout components right below it, and then the enclosure components right below it. I have a SQL database that knows whether a component is a disconnect handle versus a relay and where that needs to go. And I'm just looking for something that takes it a little further and can kind of designate specific locations for parts.
Okay.
Just things like that. And I was just wondering if there's any other product that helps more with the specific placement of things. So I know you mentioned Inventor, and so that you'd say is mainly just for 3D layouts.
That's 3D.
Versus 2D?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's definitely if you want to
Okay.
see all of that in 3D. So now I understand your question a little better. Though natively, yes and no. So our biggest thing for automation is the spreadsheet to PLC-IO utility, which will automatically, based off of inputs that you've put in around information on wire spacing and other information, you can actually have it automatically create your schematics tied to PLCs. I, in many years ago, hacked that particular utility with a customer, and we taught a class at AU that was all about how to hack it and get it to do all of the drawings in your package. So basically you're ghosting in fake PLCs, because that was what the utility was written for, but you never actually insert PLCs, and you can actually just define where you want locations of everything, and it's all fed off of a spreadsheet, and there's a front end on it that you can do. So there's been a lot of demand over the years for automation like that. I think it's a great point. could even be worth, re-exploring, and maybe even getting the product team involved if they had ideas on other ways that we could do this for potentially an AU class. So that's a really good question. And I would say more to come. The biggest way to hack it is, and if you write code already, I would look at, utilizing the spreadsheet to PLC utility. And looking back at old AU recordings, that one should have been AU 2016 when I did that. And I think it was called The Need for Speed. And it was all about automation. So
Yeah, I feel the need for speed.
I feel the need
Yep.
for speed. Okay,
Yep.
thanks,
Yep.
Tiff.
Mhm.
Yeah, I team taught that with a customer, and so I'm probably listed as the co-speaker, but not the lead speaker. But it was something we actually did for them at their company because they really wanted that automation.
Okay, great. Yeah, for those of you that don't know what the PLC IO utility, yeah, I've used that a lot, and I've hacked it to do so many different things, and it's definitely great. So if anyone hasn't used that, definitely check it out. But yeah, thanks, Tiffany. Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
absolutely. There's also another unique idea that had been floated in years past around the combination of that with the circuit builder utility and hacking both of those to kind of get even more out of them and more automation. So something else to kind of put in the back of your mind if you're looking into that.
Okay, yeah, great.
I hate to call it hacking. We are extending on it. We are not hacking it. There you go. Better word.
Yes.
Good deal. What else? Anything else? Did I miss anything in the chat? I'm trying to scroll, everybody. I saw that there was a second to more questions around connecting schematics and panels. Yeah, if you have non-connected schematic and panels, I strongly encourage you to dig in very quickly. Use that link that Tiffany sent. I talk about both of those things in all of that training. But maybe that is a good point. Maybe we need something at AU that's a bit more of a intro to AutoCAD Electrical or key aspects of what make it powerful and kind of cover those interconnections, because that is really, without sounding like the puns are coming out left and right, but that is the power of AutoCAD Electrical, is the interconnection of the schematics and the panels. So if you're not getting to leverage that, let's get you there. I want to make sure that you guys all are all aware of how to do all of those things, because that really is the beauty of it. I used to say in all of my classes that if you're having to do things manually, you're not fully utilizing electrical, because that's the whole point, is it automates so much of it. You do something one time and it's all interconnected down the road. And so if you're having to manually do those updates and those changes, it shouldn't, something's not set up. What else? Fair point, Pete. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. Yeah, it's a hard thing if you, for everybody, if you're not reading the chat, Pete shared that getting dumped into AutoCAD Electrical, and that it can be hard to navigate that if you don't have the support and help or the training. And there is definite benefit. This is why I said this. I mean, I would, back in my much heavier consulting days, I would never actually implement the product at a customer until they fully went through training, so that they understood every aspect, which is kind of the opposite of the way we approach most things. Most things we come in, get the software up and running, and then train you on it and do all those things. But with electrical, because of all of the impact of what you can do with the setup and choosing what libraries you have and how you want to define your settings and all of that automation, I would teach all of that first and then do the deeper dive with them. And how do you actually want to install this? Do you want shared directories? How do you want to approach, the inner working? Do you want to have librarians? How many users are going to be doing it? Because all of that trickled down to the best setup. And a lot of times, if you did it beforehand, you ended up having to unravel it and kind of start over again anyway. So it's not to make it sound massively complex. It's actually, once you understand it, a very easy tool to use. But the key is just not trying to poke and prod around it to figure it out, because you just need somebody to kind of take you through all of those interconnections so that you can get the most out of it. Mark, I see your hand up.
Just as a side note on the integration between panel layouts and schematics.
Yes.
Now, So many people don't know the background to my AutoCAD Electrical. I took stupid drawings and converted them to smart electrical. Problem now is that, number one, I have a smart schematic with a bill of materials from an Excel sheet. I have no footprints tied to them, and I don't have enough time to convert. My point here is simple. If you're going to start having a footprint database, a schematic database, and when you enter a component, make sure it's got something in the database with a valid part number. Don't have to go back to it. You will be spending too much time on it. The other problem that comes up is mixing drawings from different projects, because customer A has a set of values. They want a number 1 for the first wire number suffix. One has a 0.
Yep.
Now you don't want to mix them, because now you've got to reconfigure it.
Yep.
Always configure your database, your project settings from the very beginning. And when it comes to just hurrying through a schematic, don't just hurry through a schematic. Put your part number data in when you put the component in. Then when you do a footprint, you'll save yourself so much headache. It's amazing. I can tell you stories, but I will stop here and let you get back to your meeting.
No,
That's
Mark,
great.
it's always
Yeah.
great. No,
Mhm.
such a good point. And it's so true. I mean, you can make your drawings as intelligent or as non-intelligent as you want. And the more information you put in, the more you're going to be able to pull out, and all of the I mean, again, the interconnection between schematic and panel is a huge aspect of electrical, but so is the ability to farm all the data that we have in there. There are amazing reports that we can pull, not only on bill of materials, but on wireframe 2s, on PLC reports, on nameplate reports, and all of them can be exported into formats that can be automatically imported into your other tools that need to take those, so you're not doing any of that manual effort outside of electrical as well. And the more information you put in, the more you're going to be able to pull those out automatically than you having to manually do all those efforts. So it is really truly the power of utilizing that utility. So good calls. What else? All of these discussions too are giving us all good ideas on what might be good classes for the future. So good.
Posted the AU class you were talking about, Tiff.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It's a good thing there's no video on that course and you'll just hear my voice. I was pregnant at that AU and it was not a fun AU for me. Random fun facts about 2016.
Can't believe it was that long ago already.
No, I know. What else, everybody? If not, we can give you 12 minutes back. I really appreciate this from the small group. I appreciate the kind of smaller conversation, which is nice, a little bit more intimate with all of us. All right, I'll do a going once, going twice, and then I'll pass it back to you, Chris. Thank you again, everybody. And we will definitely make sure we revisit the AU side of this in our next one before the call for proposals ends. But over to you, Chris.
Okay, thanks a lot. I'm going to reshare my screen. So our usual thank you for joining us has a little bit different meaning today, since we kept you all waiting in the waiting room for so long. So thank you for holding out and waiting while we got our situation sorted out. We really do want to hear your feedback on this. Sean, were you going to share the survey here, or were you going to send it out in the email?
I'll do both, Chris.
Okay, so he's going to be putting in a link to a survey, and we really do want to hear from you. What are we doing right and what are we doing wrong? And just get your feedback on these sessions so we can continue to improve them. So in the meantime, if you're interested in becoming a speaker at one of these sessions, we want to hear from you about that as well. You can share what you know with the group, create your own sessions. If you have any questions about this, reach out to Sean directly. He's got his email on the slide here, so you can ask him questions about it. And we do have a proposal form. If you have an idea, we can get you that information and you can get on the schedule for one of these yourself. We hope to continue to see you all in the community. We've got all of these wonderful resources that we are continuing to develop and share with you all. Obviously, our forums, our community groups. We have 2 new blogs that we've launched in the last year. We have our Community Voices blog, which Mark Behrens is active on. He's in this call today. This blog is by the community for the community, with community members sharing their tips and tricks and ideas and thoughts and experiences with the rest of the group. And then our community journal blog is by the community team for the community at large, where we share news and information, upcoming events, member profiles, all kinds of interesting information that we hope that you're interested in. So we're going to be sharing all of these links, and I encourage you to bookmark these sites so that you can keep coming back to them. Student Group Hub, and of course, check on the Community Conversations site so you can see the calendar of upcoming events for those as well. We have a couple of really great ones coming up. I don't want anybody to miss out. And with that, thank you. Thank you all for coming. Thank you all for waiting. Thank you,
Yes,
Tiffany,
thank you so
and
much.
Matthew. And thanks, Sean, for the help.
Bye, everyone.
Yes,
Bye,
thank you,
everybody.
everyone. Yep, bye.